Today's video was asked for by you in the comment section on the biggest Lexus ever made, the Lexus TX. And yes, you guessed it, the reason why I have my trusty gimbal in my hand is today we are doing an every button and function of the TX. And let me tell you, being the fact that it's the biggest SUV by Lexus ever made, there is a lot of buttons and functions, so make sure you stick around to the end to see all of them. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus-related content. And of course, let me know in the comments below what you think of this video. Okay, so let's get started with a little bit of an overview. So here is the side of this TX 350, and this is the Ultra Luxury Package. And I am always asked about the paint. So this is the pearl white, eminent white pearl, or actually, sorry, they call it something different. I think it's like Arctic white. And you can see a little bit of flake there as well. So really, really nice pearlescent color for this car. Okay, so I'm going to start by going under the hood. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit of that and just open up the hood as you approach the front of the TX to pop the hood. And I'm doing it with my left hand, so bear with me. It sort of just lines up with that Lexus emblem. And by the way, if you ever wanted a close look at the Lexus emblem, it is different on the TX. This is one of the few that have a different emblem, and the reason being, this is actually the Lexus emblem 2.0 or 1.5, and it's to be a little bit slimmer and have less air drag and sound. So the Lexus engineers thought of everything. Okay, so here is under the hood. As you can see, that's how the latch works, and interesting enough, there is even a little bit of a seal around that latch. And again, that's all in terms with the T stands for in TX, which is thoughtful, to make sure that everything sounds good. Now you will see some extra wires over there. The reason for that is we do plug in our cars at nighttime here in the showroom to keep them nice and charged. But nonetheless, I'm still just gonna point out just a few things that you should see under your hood. So we have a few coolant lids that you shouldn't touch. These would be normally very hot, and also there shouldn't really ever be a reason for you to touch them. However, over to the right, you are going to want to touch this one, and that is your windshield washer fluid. And as you can see, it's over to the right, easy to reach. Even if it was like a heavier jug you were using, it's going to be pretty easy as well. Ooh, make sure that's on there all the way. But there is your power steering hydraulics, or maybe your brakes, I guess. Is that your brake fluid? Yeah, that's brakes. You can tell by the symbol. So make sure you don't fill that one up, fill this one up. Other than that, this is a Lexus that doesn't have a lot of covers under the hood. But over to the right, we have a little fuse cover. That would be an interesting one in case you ever had an issue with a fuse. But other than that, you're gonna leave most of this untouched, but I did wanna show you what it's like. Okay, let's do a little bit of a tour of the other stuff. So, number one, to enter the TX is very simple. You're going to squeeze on the little pad of the electronic door handle. So it's really hard to see in there. I don't know if I can get it on my camera, but there's like a little button in there that you're gonna just squeeze. I have done a lot of videos of these. And also, if your battery is dead, there is a way to get in as well. And there's two steps to it. One is if your battery is fully dead, you're gonna wanna unlock it with a key. To do that, you're gonna pop off this little cover right here. It sort of just pops out, and it pops out a way that you wouldn't expect. So instead of popping out that way, it sort of pops out like straight out, and if anything, a little bit to the left. And you can use a little bit of a credit card or the key shank itself, but it could damage the paint. I've damaged that many of times when we first got this set up. It costs about $100 to replace, so it's not the end of the world. Once you unlock that, once you open that, you can get your key in there and unlock it twice to be able to activate this little guy. So this is the lever to pop the door manually, and you do have to apply quite a bit of pressure, as you can see. So I sort of pry my finger, like my knuckle, against the paint, and then I sort of just pry it that way. But since our door handles are fully electronic right now, and we don't have a dead battery, it's easier just to do that. And then to lock it, you would just press that little dimple there. It's almost like a little indentation. I have it set up, as you can see here, that when I unlock it, that mirror folds out, and then when I lock it, it folds in, and I can show you that as well. So that's how you do that. So let's get inside, or start to get inside. And before we actually enter, let's take a look to the left at our door panel. So very nice upholstery, by the way, and I love that this one has the Ultra Suede. That's something that doesn't show up on camera as well as I wish it did. But on this little camera, we can see the fibers. And I can almost draw my name on them. Actually, I don't know if you guys ever watch that when you see a detailer on Instagram or TikTok sort of detail lines into Alcantara and carpets and stuff like that. Such a nice touch. That's the luxury version of detailing a car, and I absolutely love that. And on this Alcantara, you could do that if you wanted to. You could sort of like brush it one way or the other. But let's talk about the buttons. So the first thing you'll notice is that electronic door handle again. So to open it from the inside, it's one smooth motion. So applying pressure and just moving your arm outward from your body, that'll open up that door. On previous Lexus models and just cars in general, I would always pull the handle and then use my elbow to push out. You don't have to do that anymore. So that's how you use it when it's electrified. If you had a dead battery or you're in a car accident or something like that, of course there's always a backup plan. And that is to pull this lever towards you, and you have to pull it twice to activate that mechanical part. And I'll show you, it even says that on the little handle there. So see how it says 2, and it says make sure you check your owner's manual. Above that, we have a way to lock our windows. So you can do a window lock so your passengers can't roll down their window. And then the switches themselves are 5-way. So what I mean by that is 2 clicks down, and then a center, and then 2 clicks up. So the first click sort of just moves the window down a little bit. The second click would move it down automatically and you could let go. Vice versa for the way up. So same thing. Then we have left and right to be able to move our mirrors and set those. We have a button to fold in our mirrors. So when you press that, those mirrors will fold in automatically. And then you could put them in auto fold. So auto fold is where it's at when it comes to having it do that when you lock and unlock it. So you want to make sure that that little light is on once we actually get into the car. But it's easier to show some of this stuff outside of the car. The next is the seat controls. So on this one, we have, actually, you know what's funny? Is even after all these years, I didn't realize it's a brushed aluminum on the bezel surrounding those buttons. That's something not many people are ever going to look at, but it's brushed, and that's pretty cool. So the bottom one, just like shaped like the bottom of the seat, you can see if you zoom out, it's kind of the same shape and direction. It's how you move the seat forward and backward, and then you just lift up on it to go up, and you push down on it to go down, and then also we could get crazy, and we can sort of twist it. So you could actually just do, the front down, or the back down, or the back up, or the front up, and you can see it change on there. So when you do the front up, it really just adjusts the front of that seat. I know that sounds obvious, and actually, you know what I just realized? When it stops, you can still get a little bit out of it, and sometimes I see that with cars, where even when you get to the point of the furthest adjustment, if you press that button again, it'll go just a little bit more. Sunroofs do the same thing. And then we have the backrest, and just like it looks like, you can twist it, and that'll do what the backrest is going to do. Then we have a 4-way lumbar. So this little joystick bar is moving around a ball, kind of, in the back of your back, in the middle of your back. So that way you can adjust your lumbar. And then we have, on this model, the thigh support. And that's what Lexus calls that under leg sort of extendo of the seat. Not every Lexus has this. Not every package has it. This one's pretty good because the TX is bigger. So it's also great for a nice tall guy like myself to get some support under them thighs. But anyway, that's the buttons that we can see from here. Let's continue by getting inside the car and seeing some of the other stuff that we can see in there. So we have everything within our vision. What I mean by that is we have odometer and trip. So how many times as a car sales manager do I get into a car and I'm like, what's the odometer? How do I change the odometer because it's on trip? Well, it's pretty easy here. You can just look and it's right in your face, and that's good for being able to track things like, how much driving have you done in the last leg of your journey. Then we have dimmer up and down. So another good feature that people will go their whole lives without realizing their car has, but you can change the entire interior to a different brightness, which is nice. We have a button for our fuel cap, and I'm going to zoom way in, and if you press it, you can hear a clunk, and that's opening that fuel cap. Then we have a button for the trunk. I'm not going to open it right now. You can press and hold it. And then we have our seat settings. So important about our seat settings, when you go to set those, you want to make sure that you're setting the steering wheel, you're setting the seat, and those side view mirrors. And then what you do is you just press set, and then number 1, or I kind of hold them together. I go like, I hold set and I press number 1, and then you could do number 2 and number 3. Even if you don't have 3 people driving this car all the time, it's not a bad idea to preset a few different comfort modes for you. Every time I get a new demo, I find even when I set everything up, it's still different from the last one. And that's actually good for you. If you're on a long drive, it's good to change your seating position and change your posture and stuff like that. It gets your blood flowing a little bit better. So having it where sometimes I'll put 1 and 3 to 2 different settings, just if I'm on a long journey, you know, you can kind of change it up a little bit. So that's enough about that. Then underneath, we have a little secret guy here, and this is a trapdoor. So a little velvet sort of material lined trapdoor. It's really great for change. You might ask, why would anybody carry change around in 2024 and 2025? Well, the reason is for car wash, people. That's where I keep my car wash changes, right there. And it's actually, this is gonna sound so silly. It's actually a really nice trapdoor. I can't believe I'm saying that. But what I mean by that is when you put your finger in there, you're actually applying a little release lever instead of just popping it out on the friction alone of the plastic on plastic. Okay, so where should we go from here? Let's maybe go into the center. So in the center, the TX starts to look a lot more unique than some of the other cars. So we'll kind of go through every button. Traction control off, just like in other Lexuses. That button you're really going to use if you're stuck in the snow and you want to get all that power to the wheels. Because if not, the car is going to try to make it so those wheels don't slip. But traction control is so smart nowadays, you probably don't even need to do that. Then we have this mode, which I'll show when I have all the screens lit up because it changes a few things. Auto off off, which is hilarious to say quickly. Auto off off is when you go to a stop sign or a stoplight and the car is sitting there, that engine will shut off. And then when you press on the brake, or sorry, when you let go of the brake and you touch on the gas, it'll start it back up again. Downhill assist control, just like it sounds, if you're going down a lot of hills, you can have that engine sort of brake you a bit instead of heating up your brakes. Brake hold. Someone in the comment section mentioned I missed this, and you're absolutely right. It is definitely a great feature to have. So what you're going to use for that is when you're in the drive-thru, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, wherever you live, Chicken McNuggets if you're me, and you want to give your leg a little bit of a break, you just press that, and then you can let go of the brake, and the car will stay stopped even though it's in gear. And then when you get your chicken nuggies from the window and you're going to drive away, you just tap that gas pedal and it turns it off. So that's what brake hold does. Some of you experts in the comments are going to say, yeah, but doesn't one of the features up on the screen do that? Yes, and I'll show you that later. And then we have brake, the power brake. So you're usually going to leave that parking brake to be on auto, but you can change that and manually override it if you wanted. Then we have our shifter. So the shifter is very standard in all Lexuses as well right now. It's the electronic shifter. So the trick with this one is you want to go over and down to put it in gear. So over and down is drive, over and up is reverse, and then you just press the P for park. So it feels weird at first, but you know, even our LC500 has it, and it's pretty quick. So the other day I was going to pull into my driveway and always back into it, but there was a car coming, and it was really cool to be able to go like drive, reverse, park in a very quick motion instead of like clicking through all of the sections. So that's that. And if you wanted to put it in neutral, you just go over to the side and hold it. And then you can just go straight down to put it in manual mode. So if you wanted to put it in manual mode and use the paddle shifters, you could do that. So that's how that all works. Then we have some new stuff that you may not have seen before in any Lexus. And that's these guys here. So these are cup holders that can be removed. I think Lexus is trying them out to see if we like them. And guess what, everybody? I love them. I think they're cool. So you can remove them and hold them in your hand. The good thing is this car is very tailored to having a family. And having this be able to remove, and if you need to pressure wash it, you can. And also, you could also just rejig how this interior is. Not only can we just take those out to clean them, but we could totally remove them and have a more open space here, which is kind of nice too. And also, I like the little pass-through. Sometimes I put my phone there. I'm not going to lie. Okay, let's talk about this armrest because it's not just a normal armrest. So this is the butterfly armrest, which is new. And the reason it's a butterfly is because it opens up like this. So you can open up both sides and there's enough space that even if one passenger opened up that side to grab a Kleenex or something, the driver can stay on the armrest. So you can still get at everything in there with one of them open. But when you open them both up, you get obviously a little bit bigger of a section. And it is pretty big in here. It's deep. There's a little bit of a light sort of shining on it. I have a sold sign in there because it's a sold unit. But yeah, that's how the armrests work. Then we have one more section up here. And essentially that's just, again, a little bit more of like a velvet lined space with a classic 12-volt outlet in there as well. Then you can close that, which I always leave it closed. We have a wireless charger and then just a little other shelf there and a couple USBs above that. The USBs are two USB, actually all three of them are USB-Cs. And one of them, the one on the right, would be the one that actually connects data. So this is gonna connect to that head unit. The other two are just gonna be quick charge ones. I can't believe I'm saying just gonna be, but they're quick charge ones. And then we have some vents above that. I will say, these vents are kind of weird to me when they first came out. I mean, you're not gonna touch them all the time, but it seems like a lot of, I don't know, angles for no reason, but they are there and that's okay and they work and they do the job. So that's that. We have our 4-way button, which you can see flashing against the glass over there. Really important to know where that is because usually when you need the 4-ways is in like a pinch when you want to do it really quick. So that's that. Now I will give you a little bit of a hack here before we start turning on screens and stuff like that. Usually these screens still have the screen protector on it. So how to tell is just sort of like run your finger on the inside, and even this one I can tell still has it. It looks like it doesn't have it, but it does. And it's really hard to tell. So make sure you get your screen protector off or leave it on there for a while first and then maybe take it off down the road, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna turn on a few things here before going into the steering wheel controls. So let's just press that start button, which is just up there. My foot is off the brake. So this will just have like the accessory mode on. And I'm gonna shut this door as well. So with the accessory mode on, it's almost like it's the full mode because that's just how it works now. But we can see this little screen here now. So this is the multi-information display, so the MID. The reason I bring that up is because a lot of the controls on the steering wheel are going to control that. So we'll start at the right. We have cruise control mode. So I'm just gonna exit out of what I see here. Okay, so cruise control mode is going to change it from adaptive cruise to cruise control. So just regular cruise control. So I love the adaptive cruise. Some people want to turn it off, that's okay. And to activate cruise control, you just hit that left button right there. And then I always use it, multiple speeds, city, highway, I love it. Throw that on and then you can go up and down here for your speeds and then you can cancel. And then if you want to change the distance between the car in front of you and yourself, that's this little guy right here, bottom right corner. And there's usually 4 bars. They're bigger than car lengths. So if you have 4 bars, it's gonna be like probably like 6 or 7 car lengths. It's usually pretty big. Then we have lane departure and lane centering. I would just keep that on. I don't know why anybody would ever want to shut that off. Maybe if you're approaching a construction zone perhaps, and you want to turn that off because of maybe the steering wheel is keeping you a little too center, by all means you could do that in a pinch as well. Below that we have seek or tune, whatever you want to call it. So this is how you're going to control your presets for your music or go next track, etc. And mode is for your radio as well. So that's going to be changed from like AM to FM to XM, etc. On the left, we see a little bit more stuff here. So we have the back button and also the phone button, which back just goes back and then phone goes to any of the phone shortcuts. Then we have the talk button. You can press it or you can hold it for like things like Siri Eyes Free. And then we have volume. And then here is where we can start changing stuff on that screen. Okay, so if I go over to the right, it says 1. And right now, if I had music on, it would show up on the left. On the right, it shows our cruise control. And it's kind of mad at me because the car is not running. Or there would be some more stuff in the middle. But you still see the speed at the top in the middle. Then if we go over to the right one more time. So now we have a different configuration. Music is still to the left, but we have now like a tachometer in the middle. And then a fuel economy gauge to the right. And I'm just gonna go over to the right again. Number 3 is even interesting. We still have music on the left, tachometer in the middle, and then it just kind of looks different, a little bit different color scheme. And to the right we have compass, which tells us that that's where it would be for our directions, like any of our navigation and stuff like that. And then the center, it's gonna show us those features that keep us in our lane and from hitting people, which is the adaptive cruise control. So the interesting thing about TX is it's not like you're scrolling through layers of options. Instead, it's like preset pages, and you can customize them. So when you go to change pages, you can actually press and hold OK. And then it shows map 1, map 2, blank. You could put your driving support in the middle. You could go over to the right. We could put our fuel economy over to the right if we wanted. We could do eco indicator, driving support, navigation. So you can customize all of those screens, like those layers, into those packages, which is nice. Okay, so that's enough of the steering wheel controls. And then of course there is one more button, and that's the horn. So I just have to show you that. On the left, we have our signal switch right here. And you want to make sure that button is pressed in if you want the auto and that this is away from you. So that's going to be for auto high beam or intelligent high beam if you have it. And it's interesting because you can see the light up if it's on. So make sure that it's on if you want to use that feature. Everything else just line up to auto is pretty easy to, except for the fog lights, you just got to go up one. So go up one for the fog lights, auto for everything else, and then that way it'll all be in. Also, there is a little button right here, and that is your steering wheel telescoping control joystick. So just like it sounds. That's how you're going to adjust it in and out and up and down. So pretty easy. Okay, so that's everything on the left. Over to the right, we just have, again, some auto stuff that you want to make sure you set up. I always go up, and then that makes sure we knows that now we're at that little circle, and auto is one down. So I always make sure I learn that, and then I line that up as well. And you can adjust the sensitivity for the rain sensing as well. And then the outer one is for the rear, wiper. And we can kind of see that moving in the background there. But I just leave everything on auto, pull towards you to squirt the windshield, and push away from you to squirt the rear view camera, because we do have a rear view camera as well. And that'll also do the rear windshield. Okay, the screen itself, I mean, we can talk about this for hours. I have another video just explaining everything about the Lexus media system. Please give that a watch because I go into great detail about this system. But I will just show you a few things. The little 6 dots, you know, quick features here. You can change your drive mode to sport to eco. If we scroll over, we can start to see some of the driving assist. Make sure all of that is turned on because it is really, really good. And you'll start to see some really cool stuff like road sign assist. So if you're at a red light and the world needs to tell you about a road sign, it'll show up on your screen there. And that's all through that. And same with Save Easy Exit, that popped up for me today, which was great. So do spend some time, watch the multimedia video. There's so much to go over here, and there's lots of customization. So we can control everything from drive modes. We can change the ambient lighting inside the car. There's so much, and there's even vehicle customization. And even that shows you how to like change from, you know, a full driver easy exit, which I never show because I never have my seatbelt in here when I'm doing these types of videos. But it is really cool to be able to do that. Door control, custom drive mode, climate, utility, rear seat reminder, all of that stuff. So pretty much the possibilities are endless in here. You can change how the meters look and stuff like that. So spend some time, scroll through that, watch my video that I have on it. I know people always ask in the comments about some of that. So by all means, make sure you set it up the way you want it. And you can even change things like the buzzer and stuff like that. So, and oh, sorry, here's a very important question that I got asked in the comments. If you go to door control and then opening position, that's how you can change how tall that trunk opens. Okay, so it defaults to 5, which is really tall, but you can do it through there instead of having to do like the press and hold game. So yeah, so that's the screen. I'm not going to get into it that much. Let's talk about this mirror up here. So yeah, you see your buddy Dustin up there, but also if we flip this switch, boom, now it's a screen. Magic. So that screen is now facing out the rear hatch. So if you have a bunch of kids and dogs and luggage and stuff so you can't see back there, you just hit that switch and there you go. You will feel motion sick the first time you do it. I promise you that. But it does go away. And that's what happened to me, is it went away after a while. On here, we also have some home link stuff, so you can customize your garage doors and whatnot. Then we have a sunglass holder, which is great because who doesn't want a sunglass holder? I leave mine in cars all the time. We have some dome lights, some map lights, and then we can change the sunroof. So this one is just for the shade. So you can move sort of the, I was gonna say velvet, it's not velvet. The material shade you can move. And then these buttons here is for opening the actual, or moving back the actual glass, the sunroof, which is just above me. And then there's a little shortcut to be able to just crack it, which is nice. And then we have door, and that'll turn on those map lights automatically when the doors open. And then also just turning them on themselves. So I'm going to turn that one off and leave it on door. Actually, we have the doors open, so I'm going to leave that. And then we have the SOS button. A lot of people ask what that is. That's how you can connect to the Lexus call center in an emergency, or if you need to talk to someone like trip planning or anything like that. In here, we do have the regular vanity mirror. I did notice it is LED now. For a long time, that was still halogen, which is kind of funny. And then in the glove box, which by the way, let's just talk about that real quick. More Ultra Suede. So we have more Ultra Suede right on that dashboard. It is really nice. Don't touch it if you're eating anything, people, because that barbecue sauce is gonna get on there. And then in the glove box, it comes with a lot of things. This is for the roof rack, but it comes with some extra quick guides to, learn the car, as well as, medic kits and stuff like that, which I put in the back for right now. Okay, so that's a good intro to the front seat. Let's continue this party and transition a little bit to the rear seat. So again, the TX has a huge back seat and back door. Getting in, pretty similar door setup. We have the electronic latches. We have, some buttons here, but we also have this sunshade, or I call it a hater blocker, or a curtain, whatever you want to say. That just latches up there. And even if you have tinted windows, it is nice to have a little bit of extra protection, especially if you have kids in the back seat and you want to protect them from sunlight. So before I get in, let's look at these controls here. So you might say, why, Dustin, is it manual? Well, it's not just manual, because we also have a button up here for quick access to that back seat, and that releases the seat. You can slide it forward, put one big step in, and get into that back seat. But if you want to use some other features of the seat, which I'm going to just sort of put back to where I had it, and that's where these levers come in. So you'll see, this is really interesting, guys. Never before have I pointed this out. 1, 2, and then I guess we can assume that's 3. So what we do here is you release that back with 1, and then we go 2, and that'll make it so this goes totally flat. The reason that's so important is the TX is huge, and if you do that and have those back seats, you can tell the rest of your family you don't need a pickup truck. We have a TX now. We could fold down those rear seats, put everything flat, and put a big piece of drywall in there if we wanted to. Or something more practical, whatever you want to do. But anyway, it does go all the way flat, and that's what's important here. And then that front one just really slides if you need to slide it a little bit, which is a little bit hard when you have it folded like that. So I'm going to put it back. But you get the point, I think. And then you can just fold it up one more time. You will notice there is one more lever, and that's just at the back here. And that just pretty much is another quick release for anybody in the back seat. If they can't reach that other button, that's how they're going to do it. So anyway, that's that. Let's sit inside. Oh, this reminds me, I did forget. The headrest is manual. So now that I'm in the back seat, I can show you. The headrest in front of me is manual. You just sort of do that. But usually you put that in a place and then never touch it. And then we also have the seatbelt adjuster, which is manual too. Okay, so in the center, well, first of all, we have some map pockets here. But in the center, we do have some buttons and features here because it's a Lexus. And we want to make sure every seat in the TX is supposed to be a first class seat. So we have heated seats here. That's how you control them. It's just 3 settings. If this was a higher package like an executive, we could also have cooled seats back here. And you can control your own climate control. So we can control the fan speeds. We can put on auto. We can change the temperature. We also have some quick chargers here as well. And I noticed the climate control, the front doesn't have to be on for it. So I just turned on the climate control back here, and it doesn't turn on the rest. It's actually got its own blower motor. So just remember that. It is pretty cool. Then we have some USB-Cs and a little bit of a holder there. Now, if this was the 6-passenger, there would be like a big center console here with like tablet holders and stuff. This one just has a little armrest. You can still put your phone in there, and you could put some cups in the door anyway. So really having that extra seat is the main benefit here, but you lose a little bit of luxury. But my head has tons of space. You can see this big pano roof above me, tons of space above my head, and we even have our own little light here, our own little vent that we can control and move or shut, just like in an airplane. And then a little hook and holy crap handle, which is also actually pretty well done. It's actually got like a little bit of rubber to it. And even the seats back here are ultra suede, which is nice. So that's a little bit of a crash course on the second row. Let's quickly just do into the third. So I'm just gonna press that button one more time. We're gonna slide ourselves in here and hopefully have enough light to show you, because it feels like I'm kind of in one of those scary movies, POV movies. So main things I want to point out here is we have a little bit of a tablet holder here. It's not lined or anything like that. We have a cup holder and then another little holder here, or little space. The armrest is padded, so that's pretty nice. When people compare this to the Grand Highlander, this has things like that, where it's actually padded and super, super comfy. Then I have a little power reclining seat. So that's actually doing my backrest right now, and it's power reclining, which is really nice. We have a USB-C hidden on this little stopper here. And by the way, you can move that off to the side if you wanted to. And then in front of me, I have that lever that I mentioned earlier to get out in a pinch if you need to. So not too bad back here. Oh, and we have a light and vent just like the seat in front of us. So probably if I wasn't using the back seats a lot, I'd probably just shut these vents, to be honest. But who knows, if people are back here, they are. Also, you'll notice a little microphone pod. And you might ask what that's for. Some of those microphones are for active noise canceling. So just like your Bose wireless headphones, this car has active noise canceling from the outside. So being in the back seat here, you're less likely to get car sick because of you're not hearing as much wind noise, the way the car moves. Everything has been thoughtful for the TX, every passenger in the car. So that helps if you're gonna get car sick. Maybe you should just buy a Lexus TX. Anyway, let me see the back. Actually, I need to shut off the car because what I want to show you the car has to be shut off for. And what that is in the back, as we look at that beautiful taillight and LEX US design, the TX has a really great styling, by the way, super modern. But what we're going to do is walk up to it and put our right foot in and our right foot out, and that is going to open up the trunk. A lot of times people have asked me to do a kick sensor. That's how you do it. The best way is kick in, kick out, and that's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Once we're back here, this one's got the cargo liner. It was a demo of ours. We have a couple extra buttons. These ones are just to fold and recline that third row of seats. So as you can see, it's reclining it or folding it down, whatever you want, just by holding that. And if you hold it for a few seconds, it'll do what it's doing right now, which is folding all the way down, slowly but surely automatically, unless there was something in the way. Then it would actually just stop and we can sort of, have to see what's going on there. But for the most part, it's pretty easy. We also have a 12-volt outlet here, little subwoofer, and a cargo liner, et cetera, as well as a fake floor that lifts up. I'm gonna try not to hurt my fingies. Oh, here we go. There's a little loop. And this is where we have things like the jack, some user manuals, as well as the medic kit, et cetera, and oh, nice. The salesperson actually put the tonneau cover back there. Because on the TX, I find the tonneau cover doesn't make as much sense because if you're going to use that third row. So that's that. All right, and then let's just sign things off by doing right foot in, right foot out. We can see it's shutting, and now the car is all ready to go. So pretty much that's all the buttons and features. And you can see with those lights on, it looks very, very sharp. So there you have it. Every button and function on the biggest Lexus ever made, the Lexus TX. Thank you to those of you in the comments that continuously give me ideas for new videos, and for those of you that give me some great feedback saying my videos helped. That means the world, and sometimes when I'm feeling like I'm too tired to make another video, I read your comments and it always boosts me up. So it does mean the world. Let me know what you thought of this video. Did I miss any features? I probably did. and let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure to add them in future videos. And if you're looking at the TX, make sure to check out my other videos that I've done on the TX review and also the TX test drive, because this is the new kid on the block, and it's been really well received. So I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines, and I'll make sure to see you in the next video.